Here is your long, emotional, YouTube-ready story with a strong hook, smooth pacing, deep emotions, and an inspiring ending. No headings. Just pure narrative. It all began with a single sound, soft, broken, and carried by the wind. A young woman was crying alone in the cemetery, her fingers trembling against a cold, polished gravestone. She didn't notice the man watching her from a few steps away. He was dressed in an expensive black suit, his presence commanding yet strangely gentle. The girl tried wiping her tears, but they kept falling. The man approached slowly, almost cautiously, and his voice broke through the silence. "That's my wife's grave," he said softly. "What's your story?" Before she could answer, the bells of the old cemetery chapel rang, echoing hauntingly through the air. Viewers, don't miss what happens next, because the truth she reveals will change both their lives forever. And if you're listening now, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so these powerful, real human stories can reach more hearts. The girl swallowed hard and took a step back, embarrassed. She was wearing an oversized coat, one sleeve torn at the wrist, and shoes that had clearly known better days. Her eyes were red and swollen, her hair messy, half hidden beneath a cheap scarf. "I'm sorry, I didn't know," she whispered, almost trembling. "I didn't mean to trespass. I just needed a place to cry. I didn't know anyone was watching." The man shook his head gently. "You're not trespassing. Grief belongs to everyone. Tell me, why here? Why my wife's grave?" Her fingers traced the engraved name on the marble. Her voice cracked. "Because she was the only person who ever showed me kindness." The man blinked, stunned. His wife, Emily, had died 2 years earlier. She had been warm, compassionate, the sort of woman who stopped to help stray animals and strangers at bus stops. But he had never heard of this girl. "You knew her?" he asked. She nodded, tears falling again. "My name is Aisha. I met her right here, 2 years ago. I was homeless then. I used to sleep near the old church because it felt safer. One night, it was freezing, really freezing, and I thought I wouldn't wake up the next morning." Her voice grew shaky. "Your wife found me. She put her own coat over me. She took me to a shelter. She bought me food. She didn't even ask who I was or what mistakes I made. She just helped." The millionaire, Daniel, felt his chest tighten. He had known Emily was kind. But he hadn't known she had saved someone's life in her final months. "She never told me about you," he said quietly. "But that sounds exactly like her." Aisha nodded again. "I promised myself I'd come back here every year to thank her, but this is the first time I had enough bus fare to come." She looked down at the grave, guilt blooming in her expression. "I wish I could have thanked her sooner." A silence grew between them, soft, heavy, meaningful. Daniel watched her, noticing the thinness of her arms, the exhaustion beneath her eyes, the way she tried to hide her pain as if she didn't deserve to show it. Something inside him shifted, as though his wife's hand gently touched his shoulder from the other side. "How long have you been struggling?" he asked. Aisha hesitated. "My whole life, I guess. I aged out of the orphanage system with nobody to support me. I worked wherever I could, cleaning, kitchen jobs, anything. But then I got sick for a while and lost everything again. I've been trying to rebuild, but it's hard when every door closes the moment you knock." Daniel felt a deep ache in his chest. Emily had always said, "If we have more than we need, we must be the door others cannot open." He had forgotten that after she died, drowning himself in work and silence. He felt the echo of her voice now. "What are you trying to rebuild exactly?" he asked. Aisha blinked, startled that he cared enough to ask. "My dream," she whispered, almost shyly. "I want to become a nurse. After your wife helped me, I decided, I want to be like her. I want to help people who have nobody. But nursing school is expensive. Even the forms cost more than I have." A tear she didn't expect trickled down her cheek again. She brushed it away quickly, embarrassed. "Sorry," she murmured. "You didn't ask for all this. I'll go. I didn't mean to bother you." "You're not bothering me," Daniel said firmly. "Sit, please." Something in his voice, steady yet gentle, made her obey. They sat beside the grave, the wind rustling the tall trees above them. Daniel began telling her stories about Emily, how she laughed too loudly at movies, how she always brought home plants she couldn't keep alive, how she once spent an entire afternoon trying to rescue a cat that didn't want rescuing. Aisha smiled through her tears. Then Daniel surprised even himself. If Emily were here, he said, she'd help you without hesitation. So I'm going to do what she would have done. Aisha looked up, confused. What do you mean? I'm going to pay for your nursing school. She froze. The world stood still. Even the wind stopped. No, she whispered immediately. No, I can't accept that. You don't even know me. I know enough, he replied simply. I know my wife saved your life, and you're trying to honor her by saving others. That's more than most people ever do. Her breath hitched, her hands trembling. I don't know how to repay. You don't, he interrupted gently. You just live the life you dreamed of. That will be your repayment. Aisha burst into tears, raw, uncontrollable, overwhelming. She covered her face as sobs shook her entire body. Daniel didn't touch her. He knew some wounds weren't ready for comfort, but he stayed by her side until the sobs softened. Over the next months, everything changed. Daniel kept his word. He bought her new clothes, paid for her school forms, helped her get her documents, even found a small room for her in a safe neighborhood. Aisha started classes, nervous, shy, scared she wasn't smart enough. But she worked harder than anyone. She studied late into the night, often calling Daniel to share her successes, her fears, her progress. For the first time in years, Daniel felt something he had forgotten existed: purpose. Their bond grew, not romantic, not transactional, but something rare, almost sacred. Two broken souls, healing each other in their own ways. A year later, Aisha stood once again at Emily's grave, but this time, she wasn't crying. She was smiling, holding her nursing student badge proudly. We did it, she whispered to the gravestone. You saved me, and now I'll save others. Daniel stood beside her, pride shining in his eyes. She would be proud, he said softly. Aisha looked at him, the wind brushing her hair across her face. Thank you, she whispered. For finishing what she started. He shook his head. No, you did that.